Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Manuel and in this video I will give you an insight of how a remote viewing session looks like. I will explain the protocol from stage 1 to stage 6, including the stage 6 tools, and also what you have to do in order to receive reliable information. So let's jump into it. As you will see right away, it does not require any special meditations or other techniques. The whole process is about sitting down in a quiet environment, focusing on a paper in front, asking questions out loud over and over again, and answer them spontaneously. The structure of the protocol, in combination with the correct body behavior, ensures that the information will flow all by itself. It is important to focus all the time on the paper and also asking the paper, because it represents the matrix, where all information is stored. We call it the matrix, but you can also call it quantum field, morphogenetic field, akasha-chronic, or whatever. When we ask ourselves or look around, we receive only information from our analytical mind. That's not what we want. We want to ask the matrix neutrally. So why are we doing it this way? When we ask a question out loud, we keep our analytical mind busy for this short moment. Because we focus at the same time neutrally on the paper, we make it possible to receive and perceive through another part of the brain intuitive information. This impression we write then down on a paper and continue with the next question. It's like a switch we push with every question. Well, how does that look like now? So, first I pick up a task number. The task number is a randomly generated number which is linked to a task. In this example, it's an envelope with a photo inside. It is very important that I as remote viewer have no information about what's inside this envelope. If I have a hint or other advanced information about what's inside of the envelope, then it is very difficult to get reliable information through a neutral query. So, we take the number and begin the session. On the first sheet, we note down on the right margin name, date, time, and then start writing down our personal inclemencies in the middle. How am I doing right now? What's in my mind? Is there anything that prevents me from doing a remote viewing session right now? I have to be honest with myself and write everything down. Then I'll write down under it, do I have any idea what it might be? Do I have a picture in my mind? Or do I have a precognition? I write it all down, put then the pen down and say to myself, I separate myself from my personal inclemencies and the advanced visuals. This is an important part of the protocol because it ensures that we start the session in a neutral and unbiased way. When I have done that, I pick up the pen again and write down the task number. While I'm writing down the number, I'm already fully focused on it. Only this is important now. As soon as I've written down the number, I immediately create a spontaneous ideogram. It looks like a scribble, but it has an important purpose. Because we receive informations about the target right from the start, but we cannot yet formulate them into words. This is why we make this spontaneous hand movement, called ideogram, which contains the first information in coded form. Then there is a specific procedure about what I have to ask when I trace this line. I subdivide this line spontaneously, sense it in the air and ask the first questions, such as contour shape at the side, is it solid, liquid or gaseous, and so on. And define an archetype for the ideogram part. I'll keep doing that until this line is finished. Stage 2. Stage 2 is about querying the first sensory data. This means that I ask for colors, surfaces, smells, tastes, temperatures, dimensions and movements. In stage 2, I am now able to get some more specific information. I put the pen on the paper and ask, what color is at the side? The first spontaneous impression I get, I write down immediately and move on to the next question. Each individual query cycle should not last longer than 2.9 seconds, because we are not supposed to think, but to answer spontaneously. If my brain produces a picture in the meantime, then I write it down on the right margin. This is called AOL break. AOL stands for Analytic Overlay. So let's take a banana for example. After the color yellow and the taste sweet, our mind concludes and gives us the complex picture of a banana. We then write on the right margin AOL/B and below banana. Put then the pen away and say it's not a banana because AOL is always wrong. Afterwards, I pick up the pen again and continue to working. If I create an AOL in this stage and also in the other stages, I must always write it out in order to continue to query neutrally. At the end of stage 2, the personal impressions will be described. If I would be at the side, how I am doing there? How do I feel? What is going on inside of me? Stage 3. Stage 3 is about creating a spontaneous sketch, which tells me how many parts the site consists of and how are they arranged to each other. It is not about creating a detailed sketch, but just about showing with a few strokes, for example, there are 2 parts, they are arranged specifically to each other, and perhaps already an approximate form comes through. Then I transfer the so-called archetypes from stage 1 into the sketch, as well as the information from stage 2. Now I have summarized for the first time many data on one sheet of paper. Finally, I determine which part is target X, means the main aspect, what the target is about, and what is the secondary aspect, the so-called aspect A. Now we go on to the next page, stage 1 of target X. The stages 1 till 3, which we have done so far, deal with the whole site. You can imagine it like this. If the task is the Eiffel Tower, then one would first perceive the Eiffel Tower, but also the trees next to it, the people who are around there, and so on. This means that at the beginning the perception is still quite unspecific and disordered. And now in stage 3, I could already determine there are 2 parts at the side and 1 part is my main part on which I fully focus now. Therefore, we now continue with stage 1 of target X, where we only describe the target X. Stage 1 of target X. I start by saying I'm standing right in front of target X, what would I perceive then? Then I execute my spontaneous ideogram. The first information comes through and I process the ideogram again, just like the ideogram on page 1. The difference is that now all the data is only about target X and not about the whole site like before. Stage 2 of target X. Here it is again only about target X. I query all sensory data specifically from target X. I want to know the colors, the surfaces, smells, tastes, temperatures, sounds, dimensions, and also movements. And I finally ask again for my personal impressions. How would I feel if I was at target X? What's going on inside of me? What feelings does target X trigger in me? Stage 3 of target X. Here it is about drawing target X dimensionally for the first time. I take from stage 2 of target X the queried dimensional terms and sketch them on this sheet. Then I assign all other data from target X into the sketch. The archetypes from stage 1, my colors, surfaces, smells, tastes, sounds from stage 2, and so on. Thus I create an overview sheet of the target X where I can already recognize which parts are prominent. Stage 4 of target X. This stage is intended to provide even more specific information about the target X, to get more information about what it is all about. First, I note the letters of the stage 4 matrix columns. Here, I write then the spontaneous received impressions into the corresponding column, or ask from top left to the bottom right according to the respective column. Also here, I start to query the sensory data first, capital S, colors, smells, temperatures, and so on. Then the dimensions, capital D, then my personal feelings, AI, and then the feelings that other people would have at target X, EI. Now comes the special parts of stage 4, the column T, the tangibles. This comprises everything I can touch there. That means, what can I touch at target X? What material is target X made of? Is it a thing, a locality, a life form, or an event? At this point, my aperture to the matrix is already so wide open that I can already query more specific terms. The next column, I, for intangibles, is there to find out what is the purpose of target X, what is the category of target X, for what do I need target X. All this intangible information appear in column I. The aperture here in stage 4 is already so wide open that there are no more breaks. If I have an AOL, I will write it down into the corresponding column, but don't put the pen down anymore, because my connection to the matrix is already so strong that I would only obstruct myself by the break. Stage 5 of target X. At this point in the protocol, I have already downloaded information which I have not yet pronounced or written down. Therefore, we have stage 5, where we temporarily do not have this connection to the site, but rather deepen an already received information. For example, I take the word sing that appeared in stage 4, and here I ask specifically questions related to this word. Stage 5 allows me to lure out more detailed information which is hidden behind the already received word. What in particular can I touch? What is the specific purpose? What do people say about it? And so on. In this way, stage 5 is a special stage, since the signal line to the matrix is not necessarily used, but data already received will be processed further. Stage 6 of target X. Here, I want to build up the connection to the matrix and target X further, open my aperture further and receive more information. In order to stimulate the connection in stage 6, I use modeling clay as an aid. I put the modeling clay in front of me and palpate it. Through the mechanical palpation, the signal line to the matrix will be stimulated by feedback. Suddenly, a spontaneous information comes up again, which I can put then on paper. Here, usually information comes through where my subconscious mind thinks that is still important. Stage 6 tools. First and foremost, the modeling clay should always be used in stage 6. However, there are other tools in stage 6 with which I can query additional information in various ways. For example, there is a tool where I can jump back and forth in time, or where I can investigate interrelationships, or where I can identify a country through flags, and many more. In my stage 6, I have chosen the View and Embrace tool. Here you imagine to have target X in front of you, you grab it, grip it, perceive it, and suddenly you receive information. In my example, information comes through like, it's heavy, it's compact. Because here we are already so strongly connected with the target X that we can perceive even more specific data. This is one example out of several tools which are available in stage 6 in order to receive more specific information. Site template. The site template is intended to put all the information I have worked out so far onto a single sheet of paper. From stage 3 of target X on, where I have already summarized, all data will be transferred. Stage 4, stage 5, stage 6 and also the tools. Everything will be transferred onto the site template. Finally also, the first stage 3 with the other aspects will be transferred. And thus we get a single sheet of paper on which really everything is clearly presented. What comes next? After that, we make the summary. In the summary, I write in essay form what it is all about. I write, it is a thing, it's made of metal, the shape is like this, and so on. Here I note down 6 points by which I can afterwards find out if I really was at the site and have described target X, or if I have made a mistake somewhere or have described, for example, an AOL. It's about naming the 6 points, which are, what is it? Is it a thing, locality, life form or event? the external form, the dimensions so to speak, the material, the color, the purpose, and one other important information about target X. If I have at least 4 of these 6 points right, then the whole research is considered right. At the following task feedback, I can determine exactly how right I really was. I open the envelope and see, this is a thing, this point is right. I continue like this and prevent also to lie to myself, because I can see my previous defined points and can then clearly evaluate them during the feedback. I have only shown you a short quick overview of how a remote viewing session looks like. There are many more points to be considered in a remote viewing session. This video should also not be considered as an instructional video, where you can say afterwards, okay, now I've seen the video, now I can remote view. There are many other important points that need to be considered. If you take an online course at our school, you will start by learning stage 1 to stage 4. If you have mastered this successfully, then stage 5 will be added. And if you have mastered this successfully, then stage 6 with the tools will be added. This means that you don't have to master the whole package right away, but that you will learn to master this awesome skill step by step. Because first of all, it is important to achieve stage 4 without describing AOLs. And only later, when this has been mastered, meaning that you have reached 75% success rate up to stage 4, will stage 5 be added. The same again with stage 6 and the tools. Once you have mastered all this and achieve a success rate of 75% or more, you are also able to work as a professional remote viewer on paid projects. You can find more information about the job description in a separate video. See the link below. Well, if you have any questions, just contact me. I'm looking forward to support you and answer your questions about remote viewing. You will also find more detailed descriptions about other topics related to remote viewing on our channel. If you're interested, don't forget to press the subscribe button. With this in mind, I say thank you for watching.